Hello and welcome everybody to Genshin Character Reviews, where I go over a character's abilities, skills, stats, just read over everything top to bottom to just see just how viable they are and how they should be used within the world of Genshin Impact. This is going to be the first of many, and the first one we're going to cover in today's episode is none other than Archon number 3, the Raiden Shogun herself, Ball. Now everybody has been going nuts waiting for this character to drop, and since she's dropped, there's been a little bit of mixed reviews about her that I've seen back and forth. So I'm going to go through and I'm going to give my opinion on everything she can do. Now, I have already worked on her. She is, as of right now, level 80. I need to ascend her one more time for full ascension, but currently working on that. But I want to go ahead and get this out there so that new players, current players, and everybody can see just what it is she can do altogether. There's plenty of people who like to zone in on the negative with the character, but the thing about Genshin being a gacha game, and being a good gacha game at that, every character has strengths and weaknesses. You're not going to get a character who is flawless, and really you shouldn't. It's meant to cycle through and use multiple characters and everything. So without further ado, let's get into it and see what Ball is good at and what she is bad at. Now, I'll say this right out the gate. She is a DPS support, and she can play both, and she does both at the exact same time. So, in order to explain exactly what that means, let's go over her skills, and so we can see exactly what happens here. Alright, so regular normal attack, we all know what that is. 5 consecutive blows, and she is a spear user. Excuse me. And so that's pretty much what that is, as all with every other character in the game. But now let's get on to her skill, which is truly her bread and butter. So let's check out what it does. Let's go ahead and read over it. Let me actually no, that's just I'm not in the way. My head's not in the way. That's the actual description. That extra writing down there, who cares? But I'll read it anyway. Okay, so the Raiden Shogun unveils a shard of her Euthymia, dealing electro damage to nearby opponents and granting nearby party members the Eye of the Stormy Justice. Eye of Stormy Justice. What it does, when characters with this buff attack and deal damage to opponents, the Eye will unleash a coordinated attack, dealing AoE electro damage at the opponent's position. Characters who gain the Eye of Stormy Judgment will have their elemental burst damage increased based on the energy cost of the elemental burst during the Eye's duration. Alright, so that means that when you have the Eye on you, not only is it attacking with you, it's also increasing your elemental burst should you use it. Alright, so the Eye can initiate one coordinated attack every 0.9 seconds per party. Coordinated attacks generated by characters not controlled by you deal 20% of the normal damage. So, to break down what that means, basically, is that yes, for every person who has the Eye of Storm over them, they will in fact get a coordinated strike with the Eye of the Storm every 0.9 seconds. But that goes for every character, so the thing about her is, not only is she a great support just in single player, she's a great support in multiplayer. Her skill will buff everybody all at once, and they'll all be getting the Eye of the Storm assist slashes all at once. And so, not one will override the other for each independent character. On top of that, it says specifically coordinated attacks generated by characters not controlled by you deal 20% of the normal damage. So basically what that means is that in co-op, you're playing with other people. You're not controlling their characters. So because of this, when you're in co-op, you're increasing party members. This is exactly what I've been wanting. Promotion of multiplayer. This game is so great, and even though it does have multiplayer, it's lacking in a lot of areas. There's a lot of areas where it's not lacking, and those parts are very fun, but that's exactly why I zone in on the areas that are lacking and be like, come on, more multiplayer. This skill promotes multiplayer, and that just makes me smile. That gives me hope for the future for multiplayer events and stuff like that. So moving on, that, like I said, this is her bread and butter. So this is a very, very good skill. Very good skill. Now let's move on to the more controversial that I've heard everybody talking about as more so of a negative. And that would be her burst. So before we get into what everybody says is negative about it, let's go ahead and go over what the burst does. Start from the top, going on down. We will, let me see here, start very top, here we go. Gathering troops unnumbered and wishes uncounted, the Raiden Shogun unleashes the Musu no Hitotachi and deals AoE electro damage. Using Musho Ishin in combat for a certain duration afterwards. The damage dealt by Musu no Hitotachi and Muso Ishin's attacks will be increased based on the number of chakra resolves stat. Couldn't even say it right. Chakra desideratas resolve that he has stat consumed when the skill is used. While in this state, the Raiden Shogun will wield her Tachi in battle with her normal charge and pledging attacks infused with electro damage, which cannot be overridden. When such attacks hit opponents, she will generate energy for all nearby party members. Energy can be restored this way for every 1 second, and this effect can be triggered 5 times throughout the skill's duration. Now that sounds pretty good so far, but let's go ahead and keep going. While in this state, Raiden Shogun's resistance to interruptions increase, also another positive, and she is immune to electrocharge attack damage. Immune to electrocharged reaction damage. Okay, so that means that she's not going to get hurt by any electro reactions that happen around her. Continuing on, the effects of the Musho Ishin will be cleared when the Raiden Shogun leaves the field. So it's one of those specials where as soon as you swap her out, the special is gone. It's not going to linger at all. So keep that in mind when you're playing in comp teams where you're swapping characters in and out a lot. So Chakra Desiderate. When nearby party members, excluding the Raiden Shogun herself, use their elemental burst, the Raiden Shogun will build up resolve attacks based on the energy cost of these elemental bursts. Max number of resolve stack is 60. The resolve gained by Chakra Deseratia will be cleared 300 seconds after the Raiden Shogun leaves the field. Okay, so to address the issue here, the biggest issue that people have is that at the end of the burst, is at the end of the description here, it says, while the Musu Ishin is active, the Raiden Shogun's normal charge and plunging attacks will be counted and considered as elemental burst damage. Now the thing about it is that she does not infuse her spear in a normal situation. She is attacking with normal attacks. Now when she's in the state of her special using her sword, the Muso Ishin, she's doing all electro damage, and all that electro damage also converts into elemental burst damage. So one thing about it, if you're running her as a physical comp, then her burst works against you. That is the bigger problem that we're seeing here. So technically, by that, if you run a physical comp with her, you'll technically be doing less damage when you hit your burst. So because of that, and because her spear, when outside of her skill, is always doing physical damage, that's kind of counterintuitive. And I can understand that from the community. Now that is the biggest negative that she has so far. But I don't think it's not game breaking for her. I mean, it would make sense to make her more of an elemental character in an overall sense if you were going to give her this kind of a burst, or to not have the burst, do that completely, and that way you can build her as more of a physical comp if you so choose to, considering the fact that she's always physical when she's outside of her burst. Now, the only exception to that is when she's using her skill, the Eye of the Storm is doing electro slashes, but she herself is not doing electro slashes. She's still just attacking with her spear. Now we'll do more demonstrations like that in just a moment. We'll get some demonstrations done. But let's go on down. Like I said, that's the biggest negative about her burst right there. So you want to keep that in mind when you're building her. You want to build her as more, if you're going to use her burst a lot, you want to build her as more of an elemental electro type. And if you're not concerned about her burst, then yeah, you can try to go physical. Or you can try to do some of the things that I've been doing with her, which I'm going to show off in just a bit. So, going on to her passive talents. Passive talent number 1. When nearby party members gain elemental orbs or particles, Chakra Desardia gains 2 resolve stacks. This effect can only occur once every 3 seconds. And second talent, each 1% above 100% energy recharge that the Raiden Shogun possesses grants her 0.6% greater energy restoration from Musho Ishin and a regular 0.4% electro damage bonus. Now, that's the next thing that makes it almost counterintuitive for her, because the fact of the matter is that her spear is still doing normal damage, but you're getting higher electro damage burst based on this skill amplifying it around manipulating energy recharge. Now, that could put some people off because it kind of mixes it up, but at the same time, the electro damage bonus will take effect off of the skill. So as long as the Eye of the Storm is going, then you'll be able to take advantage of the electro damage bonus. So even though you're getting all this electro damage going, you also have this physical damage going on in the background that's not doing as much as you would want it to. Or you could flip it and be doing great physical damage, and the electro damage is not doing as much as you want it to. So those things can definitely get in the way. And then of course her final passive, which is just, outside of combat. Basically what this one does is decreases Mora. It basically only has to pay half Mora when upgrading and ascending swords, polearms, and that's it. Just swords and polearms. I thought it was one more. Okay, so you get a discount for upgrading those weapons so long as she's in your party at the time. So that's a nice little bonus right there. Get to save a little bit of Mora, especially as you upscale with some of these weapons. When you get to the final ascension, the Mora cost, whoo, man. Okay, so there's one other thing that I forgot to mention, and that's what makes her skill absolutely broken. The fact that technically, once you start hitting her skill, it never goes away. It's always there. And the reason why, and this is completely insane to me, but at the same time I love it, and it's just awesome, is her cooldown. When she uses her skill, the duration of her skill is 25 seconds. Her cooldown is 10 seconds, which means the skill is ready to be used again while it's still in effect, and you literally have a good 15 seconds to hit it again before it goes away. Meaning that if you're using her, there's literally never a time when her skill should not be active. Literally. Her skill, her Eye of Stormy Judgment, should always be active on the field, especially not even especially, just in any situation. Single player, running comps with multiple characters swapping in and out, going co-op. No matter how you're playing her, her skill should always be going. Always. If it's not going, you're not even paying attention or even playing her right, or you're AFK or something. Because look at this. Look at how much time you have. 25 seconds is the skill before it goes away. And the cooldown is only 10. That is insane. I've never seen that cooldown on anything in any game before. Like, what? Alright, so that's that. So to break it down on paper, skill good, burst so-so. Not the best, but it's alright. But skill and burst both rely heavily on elemental damage, so in my opinion, don't make a physical build ball. It just kind of works against you. And so what do you do about her physical damage? Well, in some cases you could just leave it, but in other cases you can also manipulate it. And in many other cases, you probably shouldn't be attacking with her directly anyway. So let's come on out of here and actually give some demonstrations about what we're doing here. how to actually use her. So let's go ahead and look up some mobs and slap them around. And also give an example, because there's a few things you also need to know about the skill and how it works in combat when it comes down to the wording and everything. Alright, so here we got some healer trolls. And there we go, we got a big guy with a shield. That's what I wanted to show, because this is very important to remember when you're doing the Eye of Stormy Judgment. So go ahead and activate it. I'm gonna stay over my head from this point on. Well, whenever we're fighting anyway, it'll stay there. Now, when these guys are coming up, hey guys, come here. See? Initially, it does damage right off the bat. Watch out, easy. When you're hitting regular enemies, Eye of Stormy Judgment is assisting you with electric damage. Damage is not great yet, because remember, I'm still building her. But it's decent. It's good enough to get the job done. Now, here's what's important about this guy. You see this? If you notice, the Eye of Stormy Judgment is not taking effect. It is not slashing him. Unless I actually... See, if I'm able to make contact with him, then it'll hit. So remember, if you hit shields, other objects, or anything that is not an actual enemy, the Eye of Stormy Judgment will not react.
There is no escape.
So keep that in mind, especially when you're fighting shield enemies. Shield enemies can pretty much keep the Eye of Stormy Judgment from hitting you. But that is why you pretty much, if you run into those situations, the Eye of Stormy Judgment will just assist your other characters.
Light it up.
Actually, not really. But see, with that being said, as soon as the shield gone, boom. So keep that in mind. Be wary of shields. Shields will negate the eye. And if you guys are wondering what's this ring around me that has appeared now, that's part of the special when it was talking about how it charges up from other attacks. Technically, I could go ahead and use my burst right now and it'll be at base level plus 1 charge, or I could wait until it's full charge and use the burst at its strongest. Truly, from what I've been testing, the burst at its strongest, hitting right at the beginning, it's the best part of the burst. After that, it's subjective. Let's see what happens with Kazuha with this. Wrong character.
The wind knows me. Clouds high, the birds come.
Look at this. Extra amino electric damage going all over the place. And even though it swirled the lightning, we're still getting the assist coming in. He's just lightning wind at that point. And so you'll find that very useful for every single character. The Eye of the Storm, the only time when the Eye of the Storm is not viable, the only time is when you're fighting an enemy who is immune to lightning. That is it. Otherwise, the Eye of the Storm is a beast of a skill. Alright, so that pretty much wraps up everything that I have to say about Ball as far as usefulness into the game. Her skill, immaculate. Her burst, you know, and her regular attack can be addressed if you're trying to run an elemental comp. If you are trying to do a physical comp, and you can still have the lightning assisting you, just that the burst isn't going to do much for you at all at that point. Otherwise, it's an annoying thing. It definitely is for some people who like to run physical comps, but the one good thing about it is that they built her to be versatile. She is versatile as a DPS. She is versatile as a support. She makes lightning characters stronger. She gives any other character just automatic elemental reactions. So no matter what, you can't deny that she is an excellent character. Not perfect though. There are some things that they should be able to tweak just a little bit. Certain flaws that you wonder, like, why did they do that? But otherwise, a very good character. So that is my review of Ball, the Raiden Shogun. If you like this, please do subscribe and check me out other vids, and also on my Twitch where I stream throughout morning streams throughout the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And otherwise, that's gonna be it. And I'll be doing more reviews on new characters and on old characters, because it's not just us who currently know about the game. New players are coming up all the time and they're wondering who can do what and who they should go with. And I'll be here reviewing every character I can get my hands on to let you know just what they're useful for at base level. And then, because once they're built up with super stats and everything, then it really doesn't matter anymore. But while you're building your characters, because that does take time, I'll be reviewing different characters on what they can do and how you can use them in very, not just meta ways, but also very creative ways as well. So that's going to be it for me. Alright guys, so till next time, take care of yourselves. I'm out of here.